She thought her money gave her the right to humiliate anyone. In the middle of a luxury restaurant, a billionaire's wife looked at a black waiter and mocked, his appearance for everyone to hear. Guests laughed, waiters froze, and the man stood there holding back his pride. But when he finally answered in a way nobody expected, the entire restaurant went silent. What could one waiter possibly say that left even the wealthiest speechless? Stay with me, because this story will leave you questioning more than just a dinner gone wrong. The restaurant was the kind of place where the rich didn't just eat, they performed their wealth. Crystal chandeliers sparkled above velvet curtains. Waiters moved like shadows, and a pianist filled the air with soft music. Among the staff was Emmanuel, a young black waiter. He was polite, sharp, and carried himself with dignity, despite knowing exactly how some guests looked at him. For Emmanuel, the job wasn't just about money. It was survival, supporting his younger siblings after their parents passed away. That night, the billionaire's family arrived with their guests. The wife, elegantly dressed in jewels worth more than a year of Emmanuel's salary, made her entrance as though the world was her stage. When Emmanuel approached to serve, her eyes narrowed. She whispered something cruelly under her breath, then louder for all to hear, mocking his skin, his appearance, his very existence. Laughter echoed. Some guests pretended not to hear. Others joined in. Emmanuel kept his composure, but deep inside, the sting was real. Still, no one expected what was about to happen. The whispers didn't stop. Every move Emmanuel made, pouring wine, carrying plates, was followed by little comments from the billionaire's wife. "Imagine someone like him serving us," she sneered. Each remark cut deeper, and yet Emmanuel's face remained calm. But the other staff noticed. Some looked away ashamed. Others silently wished he would retaliate. After all, how much cruelty can one person take? The atmosphere grew tense. A few guests shifted uncomfortably, clearly realizing the line had been crossed. Yet the wife continued, her arrogance feeding on the silence of others. Then it happened. Emmanuel placed a bottle of rare wine before her, bowing respectfully. She smirked and mocked him again, this time in a foreign language, assuming he wouldn't understand. It was meant to humiliate him further. But Emmanuel straightened. For the first time that evening, he looked directly into her eyes. And then, calmly, fluently, he replied in the same language. The room froze. Forks stopped mid-air. Glasses trembled in hands. His words weren't angry. They were elegant, sophisticated, impossible to ignore. He reminded her in her own tongue that respect cannot be bought and dignity cannot be stolen. The billionaire's wife went pale. The smirk vanished. Around her, the guests who had laughed now sat in stunned silence. Emmanuel bowed once more and walked away. The restaurant had never been this quiet. Every eye followed Emmanuel as he moved gracefully, continuing his work as though nothing had happened. The billionaire's wife, once the loudest voice in the room, now sat speechless. She tried to muster a smile, but it collapsed under the weight of humiliation. For the first time, she wasn't the center of attention. The waiter was. Some guests dared to clap softly, a ripple of respect spreading through the room. The pianist resumed playing, but the music couldn't drown the lesson that had just unfolded. Emmanuel hadn't raised his voice. He hadn't fought back with anger. He had turned mockery into silence with the sharpest weapon of all, intelligence. When the night ended, whispers filled the air, not of gossip but of admiration. The billionaire's wife left quickly, avoiding eye contact. Emmanuel, however, stayed until every guest was served, his dignity intact. For him, it was just another night. But for those who witnessed it, the moment became unforgettable. The lesson was simple yet profound. Racism thrives in arrogance, but collapses in the face of grace and strength. How many more moments like this happen in silence, unseen, unheard? And how many more voices must rise before respect is no longer a privilege, but a basic truth? This wasn't just the silence of a restaurant, it was the silence of shame. A silence that reminded everyone that no amount of money can buy true respect.